And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Fire in the Hole. Got Max on board for this one.
Yep.
So Heiko and I doing some reviews tonight of Nick Barnes sauce. I made a whole bunch of them. We're gonna do the third one tonight. I'll hand it over to Heiko. He'll hand it off to Nick, and we'll get going.
So yeah, I am the lucky recipient of a Secret Santa from Nick Barnes. I've been watching his hot sauces online, going through, and I have always been intrigued with what he's got going on. And I now have a big collection that I split up with Greg, so we can actually go through it. And the great thing about it is that Nick is actually willing to share some of his stories behind all the sauces. What I've heard so far in the last two videos that we've done, he's very passionate about the hot sauces that he makes, and there's a story behind everything. So it's absolutely awesome to have you here, Nick. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What we're going to be trying out right now, and Greg is going to hate me for this, but it is called Black Magic Mushroom Sauce. And when I opened up the package, I said, I definitely want to hear about this. It looks absolutely amazing. For me, Greg does not like mushrooms, so that's the reason why he may not like it as much. But that's why we've got Max here.
Right. It has a lot of mushrooms in it. I'll go through the list of them, but it's also a ferment-based sauce because I got a ferment mash from a good friend of mine, Sean McBride, who is also a phenomenal craft sauce maker, just hobbyist. Him and I talk all the time about sauces and whatnot, and my inspiration for making this sauce kind of come from another sauce I'd made at one point that I wasn't happy with, that I actually gave this name to. And I was one of those things when I was like, I shot myself in the foot because I named it mushroom and it didn't really taste like mushroom. And I was like, well, I got to revisit that someday. So I was talking to him about it, and that's where the inspiration for this came from. So we'll see how this does with you, Greg, because it's the mushrooms there, but it's not the forefront of it, I guess is the best way to put it. It's kind of just an umami base.
Heiko would be quick to point out there's lots of stuff I don't like that I end up eating a lot of later. But, it's happened several times, actually.
I may have introduced him to a couple of different things in a different way that made him appreciate him more than before. So
Stuff that I quote-unquote didn't like. All right.
This is definitely a thicker sauce. Like most of my sauces have got a
Oh, here we go.
I'd say medium to thick consistency, and this one definitely it'll stand on itself.
Yep, it's super
beautiful
like that.
The color is absolutely amazing. The smell is absolutely amazing. And like you said, I can smell mushrooms, but it's not the typical mushroom smell that you would get from anything with mushrooms in it. What do you think, Greg? I'd like to hear your opinion on this one because you're not a fan of mushrooms.
So I certainly don't smell mushrooms. In the bottle, I smelled a lot of soy. It smelled like a mushroom soy, like a dark mushroom soy.
It smells a lot like soy.
On the spoon, it smells completely different, though. I don't smell the soy notes on the spoon at all.
Once you guys give it a try, I'll kind of go into the story a little bit.
Yeah.
No better time. Fire in the hole.
Fire in the hole.
That's good.
That's good.
Thank
From
you.
two guys that don't like mushrooms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Welcome to my team, Nick.
Oh, wow. Hey, there's Hungry Heat said, hey, guys. Here's Alan.
What's up, Alan?
How's it going, Alan? I'm going to have to get some more.
Yeah, that's really yummy.
The great thing about this sauce is that I keep going back for more. Sorry for interrupting you, Nick.
Oh, you're fine. So the inspiration with this sauce, mushrooms are one of my favorite ingredients. I love mushrooms. If I'm cooking, it's always going to have garlic, onions, and mushrooms in it usually. And so I had originally made, for another contest, I had tried to do a Asian-inspired umami type sauce. and I had soy in there. I had there was corn and beans and stuff. It was a weird setup, but I used like soybeans, and I used like the little baby corns and stuff. And so I made this sauce. It turned out okay, but it kind of just left me wanting to dive deeper into more of like the umami kind of area. And then another sauce I had made at one point for a competition was the one I was talking about, where I named it Black Magic. It was another collaboration with me and Bianca Discrow. And basically the name come from just trying to figure out what to do for a label, trying to like see what we wanted to do with it. And her boyfriend had suggested like a grimoire or like a spell book, and putting like a mushroom or something like that on there. And so we kind of started playing with these names, and I was thinking like psychedelic, like the, you know, the hippie kind of look theme. And then like we went with this like kind of more gothic theme. But the ingredient come from, again, we had both picked all of our base, what we're going to pick, you know, what we're going to put in there. And we were kind of going towards like a Bloody Mary kind of thing. But we had decided, since we always swap with each other, that we wanted to take it one step further and do like an internal challenge and add one extra ingredient and see if we could, once we swapped, could pick it out. So I picked mushrooms because I thought mushroom would be a decent addition to that sauce. And we trade, and we're sitting here just like this on live. We're talking to each other, and I couldn't quite figure out what she had tried. Becky tried it. She kind of gets a grin on her face, and she's like, I think it's mushroom. And then Bianca starts laughing. She's like, yeah, it's mushroom. How'd you know? I'm like, because that's what I used. So at that point, we're like, all right, here's our name. Like, it's just too funny not to talk about that. But then, as I said in the previous video, we always take votes to see which one is going to have the best, you know, just public feedback. And then that's one we submit. Well, we submitted mine. Well, my opinion, her sauce had way more mushroom forward, and I really thought that's one we were going to submit, so I thought the name works. Well, then when we end up submitting mine, I'm like, well, I just killed us because it don't taste like mushroom. So from that moment, I said, I'm going to make a mushroom sauce that does it justice at some point, and that's where this came from. So I combined elements from both of those to make this. So it has some of the soy sauce in it. It's got mirin, it's got yuzu sauce, and then it also has the list of mushrooms. I was just literally trying to find everything I could possibly do for mushrooms. So I've got poigo, just regular black fungus, shiitake, morel, porcini, however you say it, champagne, maitake, black pearls, portobellos, chanterelles, lobster. I've got black truffles in there, oyster, and then just your regular white mushrooms. And I found a black truffle oil, infused oil, like a cooking oil. So I took all of the mushrooms, and I found them either dehydrated or I dehydrated them myself. And then I kept the white mushrooms just whatever, raw, normal. And I cooked them in that truffle oil and then added it to the sauce. But the funny part about this whole story, and this is where I was talking with Sean McBride, and we were kind of brainstorming as to how this whole thing would come together. And I showed him all the mushrooms I had, you know, and he's just like, wow, you're really going to put all that in there, you know? And I was like, why not? Well, he had inspired me to do the powdered, or to dehydrate them, because he says when he works with mushrooms, he says to get more of a mushroom forward flavor, he likes to dry them, and then it comes out better. So I did that. Well, I had like a pound of dried mushroom. So I had all my wet ingredients. I was cooking everything. I had it up to temperature, and I went and I dumped all this stuff in there, and I literally made like bread dough. It soaked up everything and started to rehydrate the mushrooms. And I was just like, what do I do? It's like, you know, the 11th hour of the night. And I was like, I just ruined $300 in ingredients, you know? And I just started adding more liquid to it and stuff, and got it back down to this, and I finally called it good at that consistency, you know, because it was pourable-ish, and it wasn't, you know, like just gonna stick in the bottle, I guess, you know. But so it was a lot of mistakes, a lot of experimenting, but you know, it worked out somewhat.
The end result is absolutely amazing. I mean, this is very tasty. It's got a good flavor to it. It's got a good consistency for me. Actually, it like you said, it's pourable. Absolutely, it's got good chunks in it. I like chunks in my sauce. I mean, I'm weird. I mean, I like to chew my sauce. Whenever I do a tasting, I chew my sauce. It just, and if there's something that I can actually chew into, that just makes it all the much better. So this is a very, very good sauce. Greg, your point?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. I would never even guess there's mushrooms. It doesn't usually when there's mushrooms in something, I know right away, oh my God, there's mushrooms. I've been doing that my whole life, so I know that. But this is just a really yummy sauce. I wouldn't have trouble putting this in everything. It's delicious, really yummy.
When I started making sauces originally, I was telling Greg this off camera, but like I would just experiment with something that I'd never tried before, or something I'd never seen in another sauce. And of course, every time you do that, you end up finding out there's 18 other ones that use that same ingredient. You're not original at all, but it's kind of what would inspire me to do something. So I'd pick an ingredient and I'd go, okay, this is really weird. I've never had this before, but what can I pair with it? But as time went on, I would start, you know, you'd start trading, you'd start getting inside jokes and inspirations from other people and whatnot. So it's been this evolution, you know, of getting to where things are at. But every single time I would trade with somebody, they would be like, what do you put it on? What's it for? Like, what do you suggest? And I'm like, I'd never even considered that when I was making it. I was just happy that it was edible, you know, when I got done. So in this instance, because now I'm kind of starting to learn that, okay, I got to start thinking about what it would pair with. To me, my favorite food ever is hamburgers. I think they're the perfect palette for sauce, for creation, for making, you know, it's kind of like the taco for a lot of people. You can just do anything with them. Well, to me, this is a perfect hamburger sauce. Like, I thought this would pair well with like Swiss cheese and this sauce, you know, so this is the fun thing, and this is what I learned a long time ago as well, because I got the same question myself, right? What do you put it on? And I ask people, what would you put it on? I'm going to give you my feedback on this. I would put this on Asian food. Okay.
Because it'll go really well. It'll just amplify, and I mean, I'm talking about noodle dishes and stuff like that. It'll amplify the actual flavors that you can get from there, and you still get the flavor of the actual sauce as well. So it's good to hear other people's opinions on what they are using it on as well. So that's what I would use it on. And absolutely, I will definitely try it on a burger if there's something left after today. Because it is an amazing sauce.
Yep.
Thank you.
An awesome sauce. Well, all right. Well, we'll call that a wrap. And thanks everyone for watching. And thanks Nick for giving us the cool stories behind the sauces. This is really neat. Even Hungry for Heat, Alan even said great story. So that's kind of cool. So thanks for everyone for watching, and Fire in the Hole.
Thanks for having me.
Fire in the Hole. We'll see you later.
Fine.